Drink it in, man.
Deep left side carry on. Picks on the block. At the 5. At the 2. At the 1 to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions.
Drink it in, man.
Get up, Stafford throws. It is end zone. Caught! Oh, baby, what a catch! Kenny Galladay, you're a freak! What a catch! Touchdown, Detroit Lions!
Cornbread! I love the Lions! Say it with me! I love the Lions!
Drink it in, man. Detroit Koolaid drinkers. What's going on, everybody? It is a Friday, and I don't know how I made this happen. I mean, I might have bribed them. I might have some crazy pull. I don't know how I got this fortunate, but Logan Lamorandier came in on Wednesday and had some great thoughts about the draft class, the rookies. I mean, he's back here on a Friday because me and him got to break down this schedule. We got to talk about what the Lions are going to do in 2021. So, Logan, man, you're back on the Koolaid Cast. We got more football to talk about, man. Really appreciate you coming back. How you doing?
Of course, back at it. I'm good. How are you?
Doing good, man. So, like, the schedule dropped, and, like, the NFL gets all crazy about the schedule, like it's this big holiday or you can't wait. Like for me, I'm always just like, we know the opponents, the times they play them aren't the hugest deal. You know, it's going to be a mix of home roads. You know, we're going to have, Green Bay at the end. You know, we're going to play Chicago on. They have some of these repeats that the NFL always go to. It's probably because they hate the Lions and they give us these ridiculous matchups and, say that we should be fortunate to have our one Thanksgiving game. But we're going to get all into it. But were there big things in the schedule, like when they're playing or road stretches, or what'd you think about this thing overall? It's a pretty tough schedule, I gotta say.
Yeah, I'm kind of like you, where I don't get too involved in the schedule release. It's kind of crazy that the NFL can make a show out of it, but to each their own. People probably think that about me with the drafts too, but overall, I think the first thing I always look at is the bye week. Where's the bye week at? Because it seems like the Lions have always had an early bye week, and it always is just the worst timing because typically you want it later in the season just so you can kind of get healthy and split up the season. So I was happy with that week 9 bye week. And then after that, I know this year is probably going to be pretty light on nationally televised games, but seeing the Lions at a Monday night game in week 2 against Green Bay, I was pleasantly surprised with that and pretty happy with it. So as far as stretches go, I thought it was also interesting at the beginning of the season that all 3 of the road games in the division come in the first 5 weeks. So that's kind of crazy to me. And expectations are somewhat low this year, considering it's a rebuild. So I know it's not like it makes a huge difference where they were at if they were later on in the year, but at least the Lions can have all their home divisional games a little later on in the season. Maybe they can sneak out some wins depending on how things shake out.
Good stuff from you. I mean, I'll do a few of these in sound bites. I mean, the Lions starting at home after a year and a half plus of COVID and everybody being at home, nobody had sporting games. I mean, us against the 49ers in Ford Field, hopefully, and most likely with a full house.
Oh, baby!
Can't wait for that. I mean, the Lions going to Lambeau, hopefully having some different zebras, being under the Monday night lights, hopefully giving them a beatdown, and hopefully it's against Jordan Love and company. I mean, I can't wait for that one. Let's go give it to them. I mean, the Chicago Bears coming to our house on Thanksgiving Day. I mean, riding their high horse, like, oh, we got Justin Fields. Look out. I mean, are you kidding me, Chicago? I got a little something for you.
Know your role and shut your mouth because the people's champ is ready to talk.
We're going to walk right in on Turkey Day and slap you with a drumstick and beat you down. And I hope your quarterback, I hope number 1 is back there. So Levi, Trey, Hand, Michael Brockers, Aleem McNeil are just going to eat you for lunch and for dinner and especially on Thanksgiving. So I can't wait for that. And Logan, like, I'm here to tell you, this is a hot take right here. The Detroit Lions are getting no love. Everybody acts like we're going to win 2, 3, 4 games. I'm here to tell you that if we can stay healthy for once and maybe add a piece or two, I got this game at the end of the season. It's January 9th against the Green Bay Packers in Ford Field. I'm here to tell you, I have been waiting for this for a while, for everything to go right for the Detroit Lions, for us to rise up and play above board and to shock the world. And I'm thinking it could happen here in 2021. So there may be some big time stakes. I'm calling it now in that game against the Packers at the end of the year. And like I said, I hope the smug, just unlikable, pompous number 12 is playing out there in Denver, so we won't have to deal with him. I mean, we can beat him down December 12th when we head out there for a road victory against those overrated squad there in Denver. So I'm here to tell you, this might be a special year for the Lions. The fans coming back, people excited about this team. Let's go ahead and be in the mix for the division when it's all said and done and maybe shock the world. What do you think about that?
I'm not getting my hopes up, but yes, that'd be absolutely amazing in year one. And, you know, if everything works perfectly, I always say this every year. I think teams always have question marks. It's just how many question marks does each team have? I feel like the Lions have one of the most question marks. And if everything goes perfectly and all the question marks and all the new players added and all the rookies all end up great, then yeah, you know, the Lions should be in the division race. But I haven't seen it yet where all the question marks you have regarding a team all pan out. So I'll try to remain cautiously optimistic, but you might find if we start going through the schedule of like win-loss prediction, it might not be too optimistic.
We'll see, man. I mean, you might just have to fill up your glass there, Logan, before we get to predictions.
Drink it in, man.
Honolulu Blue Kool-Aid helps out with some of these takes here on the show. But let me tell the people this. I mean, again, everybody's been waiting to get out and about and to whoop it up at some sporting events. So if the NFL has full crowds, I mean, I kept my season tickets because of Dan freaking Campbell and this new regime. I was excited that we'll have a new fresh voice and arm and opinion and player at quarterback. I can't wait to see what Swizzle does in his second year. I like that we've added speed. So Logan, I'm going to be in attendance week one, that home opener. I'm going to be going rowdy against these 49ers. I'm also going to be there that second game against Baltimore with my buddy Chops. Me and him are going to be ready to go, trying to get a big victory against one of my other favorite teams in the NFL. Baltimore Ravens just always seem to do everything right. So that could be a tough one, but it's going to be fun to be at that one regardless. And then I'm also going to be at Thanksgiving this year. It's been a few years since I went to Thanksgiving. I was kind of always debating it. This year, I'm going to make a point to go down there, turkey tailgate, enjoy myself with one of my good buddy or whatever, and then head to the family outings after that and enjoy even more turkey, more stuffing, more pumpkin pie. I mean, Thanksgiving, the greatest day ever. Football, family, food. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that. It really doesn't. So give me 3 games, and then I'm upset because the Atlanta game was the day after Christmas. I'm trying to go to Atlanta. I'm trying to move to Atlanta. I'm trying to go down there because I got the big W last year in thrilling fashion when I was down there at the game. I was going to make it a repeat. Now they scheduled it at the worst time, so I probably will not be there for that one. I don't know if I'm going to do a road trip this year, but at least 2 to 3 games I'll be live and in person, missing my fantasy football, missing the sweatpants, missing the food, but rocking and rolling at Ford Field with all the other Lions fans and Detroit Koolaid drinkers. I mean, you got to love
it. Yeah, so 3 games. I can't believe you didn't mention even the Rams game against Stafford, because that's probably the one I'm looking forward to most. Just seeing him on a different team. I'm sure I'll see him in a few games before that anyways. But, you know, just kind of the rematch with Goff against the Rams and Stafford against the Lions. I think it's going to be very entertaining. Another game that I was looking forward to, I know it's week 1, so there's more fanfare than, typically any other week, but against the 49ers, I mean, they have a great defensive line. I think the Lions should have this really good offensive line, and it's going to be week 1. They're going to show it's going to be strength for strength, and it'll kind of get a good gauge for maybe where the Lions are at. And if the Lions can really run the ball and just protect Goff against the 49ers defense, I think that's kind of going to maybe be like a precursor of what's to come in the later games. So I'm really looking forward to that. And just because it's also week 1, but also because we're going to see what the strength of this Lions team is. And then lastly, picking out the third one, I'd probably say, there's a lot of really good teams the Lions are facing this year. That's the interesting part. The schedule is so tough. And I think it'd be really interesting to see if Rodgers somehow ends up in Denver. I think I keep going back to the Denver game, even if Rodgers isn't there, because I think it's a winnable game for the Lions. But if Rodgers is there, it's kind of like a rematch with him. Not that I want to see Rodgers. I'd love to have him out of the division, but just to see him in a different uniform and kind of see what he can do there and see if the Lions can stop him, because Denver, they have a decent roster. They got a good cast. It's like you wonder what Rodgers can do with actually having just some young talent, a lot of receivers to be able to throw the ball to. But again, that's all speculation.
Logan, another hot take by me. It's a Friday. I might as well do it. Aaron Rodgers will not be playing for the Green Bay Packers when this football season starts. It's not going to happen. He's too stubborn. He's too much of a you-know-what, and he's made his stance known. It's not like this guy's some spring chicken. What is he, 38, 39? You can go out and play either there, wherever he wants to go. Denver is one of the only places he can go that makes any sense. Go get your brains beat in by Patrick Mahomes for a couple of years, then ride off into the sunset. No one ever has to hear from you again. That's definitely going to happen. I want to hear your hot take opinion on this Rams game. A lot of Detroit Koolaid drinkers, a lot of people on Twitter, lots of Lions fans, lots of Stafford fans here in Detroit that will be heading out to that ball game. That's a big road trip game. I've already heard a lot of people making the plans and the trip to take that one in person. How does that go down? Do you have this sentimental love for number 9, or is it just kind of like interesting because he was our quarterback for so long? Where do you sit on that ball game?
So with Stafford, it's more so. It's just there's been so many debates in the past about what type of quarterback is. Is it him, or is it the Lions that they can't get out of mediocrity? I just really want to see, okay, is this guy legit, like I personally thought he was, and he just needed to get out of Detroit, or is he just a quarterback who can't get it done for whatever reason, despite having all the talent in the world? But no, I think the Rams should definitely beat the Lions. When you look at the talent of the roster that they have plenty of high-end talent. Not having a ton of high-end draft capital, I think, has slowly started to, the team, the young core isn't necessarily there. It's a lot of aging players, and it's still in their prime, and they're still great. But it's like at a certain point, I feel like it's going to catch up with them. And the Rams draft this year was probably one of my least favorite drafts of all the 32 teams. They made a lot of questionable picks, and I was like, all right, well, that's the way the route they want to take. But I guess what hot take did you want from me? Now, I don't think the Lions are going to win. Was that the hot take you're trying to get out of me?
The reason the Rams had such a bad draft is because Brad Holmes ain't there anymore. He's here in Detroit making good selections for us. I guess the hot take I was looking for is that people can respect Matt Stafford. They can like him. They can hope he does well. But I'm here to tell you, it's going to go one or two ways. Either Matt Stafford's going to be all world, all everything, and have the year of his life, or we're all going to be sitting here kind of mid to end of the season going, yep, that's Matt Stafford. Decent numbers, lost, some big games for him, made some bad turnovers, and didn't live up to the hype. I could see it going either. I don't know that it's going to be, he's not going to be awful, let's put it that way, but I think he's going to be ho-hum, middle of the road, underperforming type of feel, or wow, just incredible, singing the ball all around the field, crazy moxie, a lot of fun to watch, going to be the talked about team all year, the Rams. Or just people looking back going, man, like you just said, he's just kind of the same quarterback he was in Detroit for a decade plus. I think it's going to surprise me a little bit if he does go all world, but like I said, I'm rooting for the guy, but I would love the Lions to give him a hard time as well and not just have him just throw the ball all around the yard. I do think it's going to be a hard game, and like we'll get into these crazy, way too early predictions, but you do look at the schedule. I mean, you're looking at the Rams, the Steelers, the Browns. I mean, you've got Seahawks. You got, our division opponents, which are never push over the 49ers. I mean, yeah, it is pretty ridiculous, but the Detroit Koolaid that I'll give the people, let me serve it up again for you.
Drink it in, man.
The Detroit Koolaid is just that, yeah, every year you look at the schedule and like every NFL team is quality, but when it all comes down to it, there's usually a couple injuries. I mean, a couple of the teams, more than a couple, a handful or more are always like, we're picked to win, and then they end up like, bottom of the barrel, under 500 type of thing. So, and with the extra game this year, you just really don't know how that's going to pan out either. So it's going to be crazy, but we'll talk about these games a little bit. And I just feel like they always expect the unexpected with the NFL. I mean, every given Sunday, you got a chance. Every team's good. There's no you shouldn't walk in and just feel like we're going to get whooped by this team, especially with the new setup and the new players the Lions have. So I'm excited about it. I'm not going to just look at these as W's just because of what they did years ago. I'm worried about this year. So.
Yeah, no, very true. You never know what you're going to get from Sunday to Sunday. And typically when I look at the schedule, I do look at the quarterbacks. So I feel like that's the most best indicator for how a team usually does. If they have a good quarterback, usually they can be a pretty difficult team to face up with. But again, with injuries, potential trades you have in Green Bay, you just don't really know what these teams are going to look like when the Lions actually do end up playing them.
Exactly. And earlier I was just giving you the games I'm going to be at. There's lots of ones that interest me. And like you say, if you're going in with expectations or not, I just feel like this whole year is going to be a breath of fresh air for the Lions and just for fans in general. I mean, being able to be out and about, be able to go root on your favorite team. I just can't wait for it. And I think it's going to be an exciting year for sports across the board. And regardless of wins and losses, I think Lions fans are going to leave this football season excited, drinking that Detroit Kool-Aid and ready for the future. No doubt about it. So Logan, let's get the sponsors in here. We got Reality Sports Online, the greatest fantasy platform you can do. So much fun. Makes you feel like a real general manager. You got to check that out, as well as all the other great sponsors here on the show. We really appreciate them. We appreciate everybody listening. So, Logan, I know you're ready. I don't even have to ask. When we come back, I mean, I know you've done in-depth research. You've got all your stats and numbers. You are just absolutely ready to put W's and L's here on the 2021 season. I mean, it's not too early, right?
Yeah, I mean, probably 17-0, 16-1. I'm thinking, but we'll get into it after the break.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds Kool-Aid worthy.
Drink it in, man.
Everybody, come back. I mean, this is going to be a crazy exercise. We're going to do it. We're going to be quick with it, but you're going to get our wins and losses, and we're going to hype you up about the 2021 Lions season with some of that Detroit Kool-Aid when we come back. So, everybody, we'll be right back. Detroit Kool-Aid drinkers, I am fired up. I am excited to tell you about one of our new great sponsors. Now, by now, most of you have probably heard of Reality Sports Online, the powerful fantasy sports platform where owners get to build and manage their fantasy team like a real NFL general manager. But the question is, have you tried it? I mean, it's time to go see what the buzz in the Dynasty fantasy community is all about. Free agency, multi-year contracts, rookie drafts, multi-team trades, franchise tags, contract extensions, first-round rookie options, and so much more. Think it sounds complicated? It's not. The best thing about Reality Sports Online Fantasy Front Office is that it doesn't take any more time than a standard league. It just requires more strategy. Do you think you're among the fantasy elite? Well, this is the platform to test your mettle. Still not sure? You can test your general manager skills for free in a mock free agency auction. So here's what I need all you guys to do. Head over to Reality Sports Online. You'll hear me talk about it on the show and call it RSO. Head over to Reality Sports Online and check them out right now. Everybody, I want to take a quick pause and tell you about my other Lions podcast. Now, you know, on this show, I serve up that Detroit Koolaid on Wednesdays and Fridays. But on my other podcast, that drops on Thursday mornings. That's called Believe, and that's spelled B-L-E-A-V in Lions, Believe in Lions with myself and Lions legendary safety, Benny Blades. That's right, me and Benny Blades chop it up talking football. He's hilarious. He makes me laugh. We get in a bunch of arguments, and, you know, he talks about the U all the time.
It's all about the you. It's all about the you.
But Benny also talks about the Detroit Lions. He was a great player on the field. He has great stories. Love his football knowledge across the board. We have a bunch of fun. So everybody hit that subscribe button. Find it on your favorite podcast platform. Again, that's Believe in Lions with myself and Benny Blades on the Believe Podcasting Network. Check it out. We thank you so much for the support. Kool-Aid drinkers are back from the break. Can't thank you enough for listening to our sponsors. I got to remind you, again, I'll give Logan a chance to pub his stuff. Sports Illustrated, all Lions. I mean, was he on the Huge Show? You can find him on, probably on multiple radio networks now, putting out articles, content. I mean, the guy has takes. He knows the numbers. Just very fortunate to have him on the show here on the Koolaid Cast. So, Logan, did I miss anything? Are you doing anything big that I'm unaware of? Like, let everybody know how to connect with you and how to see this good Lions content you're putting out.
Yeah, I think you hit it all, man. Just about everything. And you can find me anywhere pretty much on social media, Twitter, typically where I'm most active, and that's the handle's at LMRandier there. And Instagram, if you want some stats, usually when I find stats, I'll tweet them out, put them on Instagram, even on Facebook. Lion Lowdown, or Detroit Lions Lowdown, I should say, the Facebook page. And I also have a personal page there that I interact with. But anywhere you want to go, I'm usually typically floating around somewhere.
No doubt. Logan's an IG guy now. All of a sudden, he's all on Instagram putting out stuff. You know, he's got the big Twitter following. He's engaging the fans all day, every day. And I always love talking football with him. So, Logan, I got the old iPad fired up. I got a W column. I got an L column. I've got an O section for me. I've got an L section for you. I mean, are you ready to give the people some entertaining win-loss predictions here in, I don't know, early to mid-May?
I think so. We'll see how it goes after the season.
So we got 17 to do. So we're going to be real quick on these, W, L, and Y. I mean, we'll start with the 49ers. I mean, Logan, give me a W in this game. I don't know who's be playing quarterback, but Ford Field's going to be rocking. Dan freaking Campbell's going to have some for San Francisco. I just think the Lions are going to shock the world here in week 1. Dubski.
I actually agree with you. I put a W in that column too, just because it's week 1, new regime, players are going to be fired up. San Francisco is probably not going to know all that well what the Lions are trying to do. Might catch them off guard a little bit. In week 1, you've seen crazy things happen. Who knows what the quarterback situation is going to be in San Francisco? And we talked about it where, it's the Lions' strength, offensive line, versus San Francisco's strength of the defense. So I think they match up well. And I think it'll be a good game. And I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, I guess you can say, because I put down a W for that.
I'm shocked by that. There's no way I thought you'd have that at Dubski, but I love it. Drink that Detroit Kool-Aid. Is Jimmy G or Trey Lance at quarterback? Give us that, too. We're way too early.
I think it'll be Jimmy G to start just because he's the veteran. I think Trey Lance, he has all the tools, but probably does maybe need a little time to develop. And Jimmy G will probably be on a short leash type of thing, but I do think he at least gets the start.
Part of the reason I have this as a W, my guy Trey Lance at quarterback. I love the player, but maybe we rattle his cage and he makes a turnover late in the game to cost him here. So I'll go with Lance starting at quarterback. San Francisco going all in on him and throwing him out there to the Lions there, literally and figuratively week 1. All right, we got to keep this thing moving. The Lions in Lambeau, under the lights, Monday Night Football, revenge matchup. Give me a W. I already said it. I mean, the Zebras can't take another one from us. That's 2-0 for my Lions. Big Big win in prime time. Let's go.
I'm not following your lead this time. I'm still giving them an L. Okay. Even if Rodgers isn't there, they still have a pretty talented roster. And who knows what, I guess the true wild card would be what Jordan Love, or maybe even Blake Bortles, maybe they throw Blake Bortles in there. But I think it'll be Jordan Love. And I still think he has some talent. And the Green Bay overall, they have a lot of good talent on the team. And it's tough it's at Lambeau, which always is in the back of my mind as well.
Oh, bumsky draft for the Packers too. I'm not really excited what they did. So, all right, let's go to week 3. The Baltimore Ravens. I mean, again, I love that Detroit Koolaid and cornbread, but I got to go with the Ravens here. Just playing a physical matchup and kind of being too much for the Lions, even though it's in Detroit.
Yep, you summed that one up well. I think Baltimore is very talented and they're always good and very tough team. So that'd be quite the win if Detroit was able to pull that one off.
Heading to Chicago, I mean, early in the season, this is where the weather comes in. I'm glad I'll be in Chicago early October. Might be a little windy, but I don't think it's going to be a huge issue. I think it was a nice move by the Bears to get Justin Fields, but I'm not anointing him as the greatest thing of all time. I mean, Chicago, I'm gonna go with, because it's at their house, I'll go with a loss here, even though I usually just think the Bears are nothing special. I'll give them a win at home. So put my Lions at 2-2 here.
I wish the Lions played Chicago earlier, so maybe we could get Dalton as their starter. But I think with Justin Fields, I could see him just having a big rookie year as teams really try to figure out his strengths and weaknesses. But if he's on the field, I think it just creates a little extra dynamic where they're going to be tough to stop. I think Dalton will probably limit them, really be a game manager. But the defense is still, they lost, Kyle Fuller, and, they're aging on defense. But I still think that defense is going to be good, and it's going to be tough for the Lions to move the ball. And I think really the Bears offense will probably be able to do enough to, beat the Lions defense. So that's another loss for me.
Noted Justin Fields honk and lover Logan Lamorandier, noted on the show as that being one of his guys, even though he's from that school we shall not speak of. All right, we're moving to this is another road game in Minnesota here against the Vikings. I mean, that stupid horn. I mean, Kirk Cousins, the guy that's just absolute milk toast. I mean, they got a few players here or there. They always have 8 million draft picks. I mean, I don't know. This one doesn't scare me, even though the Lions don't play that well in Minnesota. Give me a W. Lions getting back on track, and it's against Kirk Cousins and the Vikings. W.
Oh, I'm going with a loss. Put it in the L column. Again, Minnesota, talented team. Maybe outside the quarterback position, but I still think Kirk Cousins gets a lot more flack than he should. He's a decent quarterback. He's just nothing that's spectacular, but he can move the ball and put up points, and their defense is still good enough to put up some wins.
Well, I will agree to disagree on that one. The Lions coming back home against the Bengals. I know I got some fans. Well, we got Brian Ives, who's always all over Twitter. He told me he's going to be at this game against Cincy. I like Cincy. I like their weapons. I mean, Burrow, Chase, Mixon, Higgins. They got some ball players on the offensive side of the ball. I think their line's better than most people give it credit for. Not sure where their defense is at these days, but it doesn't matter. Give me a win for the Lions.
I'll follow suit here. I'll give the Lions a W here against Cincinnati. They have all these weapons, but I don't think that offensive line is all that great. And considering that you have Joe Burrow and all these, receivers that can do damage, it doesn't really matter all that much. This is why I can't believe the Bengals didn't draft Sewell. But hey, Jamar Chase can be a good player too. But let's just kind of see how it goes. But I do think the Lions, it's a very winnable game, and I'll give the Lions a slight edge because it's at home.
Lions heading out to the West Coast to play this guy. I don't know if you've heard of him. He wears number 9. He plays quarterback now for the LA Rams. His name is Matt Stafford. It's a 405 kick. everyone's going to have their eyes on this football game. I know the Lions will want to give him hell, but I'll give this one to number 9. I do think their overall roster is more talented. It's at home. He's going to want to put on a show. They'll probably throw it around. Look to score 40 points or more. I could see this just being like a 30-some to low 20s game. Lions lose by 10. I'm hoping it's really tight to the end, but I am going to tip my cap and give this one to good old Matt Stafford. He's going to get one that's going to make him and everybody else feel good, and it's not going to be a big deal for the Lions.
Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you said. And if Stafford throws a touchdown pass against Detroit, I think he would have thrown a touchdown pass against all 32 NFL teams. So
there's a Logan Lamorandier stat, everybody. You knew that was coming.
Yeah, just had to throw that in there. Give it a little, something extra for this game because, I don't think it's going to be all that particularly close. But I'm hoping for a good game. But, yeah, Rams with the victory here.
So here we go. Lions come back home to play the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, did anybody see the pictures of Devontae Smith recently? I mean, this guy is slim as could be. I mean, everybody forgot that Jalen Hurts not the greatest thrower of the football in his college career. They don't know how to use Miles Sanders. They don't know what they're doing on defense in most spots. I mean, give me the Lions here coming back home, midseason W. I mean, chalk it up for me. Logan, what you got?
Yeah, I agree. I think really Philadelphia, I don't know what type of team they are right now with Jalen Hurts as quarterback. And Miles Sanders, I know very well from fantasy football. It's like, what are they doing with him back there? You feel like they should feed him the ball, but they don't always do. Receivers, and Devonta Smith is a nice prospect, but I still feel like that receiving group is a weakness. So I think, again, kind of like the same thing I said with the Bengals, I think it's a winnable game for the Lions, and considering it's at home, sure, I'll give the edge to Detroit here.
That's a quality finger wag from Logan Lamorandier to Darius Slay right there. No, not in our house. Number 23 or whatever number he's wearing these days. I'm sure he'll be changing his number up and going that route. So here's the thing. We're having. Oh gosh, you knew Slay would be in the number jersey changing game like some of these people out there. It's gonna be crazy. I'm not looking forward to seeing these linebackers with receiver numbers and whatnot, but that's a topic for another day. Logan, we're mid-season, man. I got the Detroit Lions 5-3.
Drink it in, man.
I mean, you on the other hand have the Lions 3-5. I mean, you're letting the people down. I mean, did you not get the jug of Kool-Aid that I sent to your house? I mean, do I need to send another couple loaves of cornbread? I mean, what's going on over there?
Apparently, I need more Kool-Aid, but yeah, it's like, all right. I think even some of these win predictions, I'm like, it might be really close, but we'll go with it.
Oh man, we got some doozies coming up, so we got to work our way through these. I mean, I know you're giving the detailed breakdown like it's the week before the game, but I mean, nobody knows what's going to happen in most of these games. But the Lions kick off the back half, heading to Pittsburgh. I know I got some friends and people that are making the trip. You know, some people that have quit on the Lions think it's cool to make the Steelers their team, which is wrong on so many levels. I mean, you don't have a secondary team. You don't root the Steelers. Like, that's just one of the NFL golden boy teams. I mean, that's just ridiculous. But Pittsburgh's a cool town. It'd be a good road trip. There's no doubt about it. Lions heading to Pittsburgh. This is going to have to be a loss for me. I mean, I hate to do it, but they got firepower, good quarterback. It's a hard place to play. Give this one to the Steelers.
Yeah, I'll give it to the Steelers as well. But I will say that I think Pittsburgh is due for regression here. I don't think they're going to be nearly as good as they were last year. But again, they still have enough talent where I think they should beat Detroit.
I don't know. I think that running back's going to be dynamic. I think Big Ben will have a better year. They've already got weapons. I mean, I think they're a good football team, looking for a little bit of a bounce back. We'll see what happens. Speaking of good football team, the Cleveland Browns. I mean, the Lions, another back-to-back road trip here, heading to Cleveland. This would have been the game that nobody watched a few years ago. Now everyone loves the Cleveland Browns. I mean, they do have this quarterback. His name is Baker Mayfield. And I think Odell might have a big year, but everybody knows on this show that I love me some Baker Mayfield and Odell and company. They just blown it out of the water with their drafts. They got talent all over the football field. I mean, I wish I could give this to the Lions, but I just think it's another L against a very talented, young and up-and-coming team. So that's going to put me at 500 there. What do you got?
Yeah, Cleveland, if you look at their depth chart, it's actually pretty impressive. And they added a bunch of talent in the draft that I thought was good. They added free agents and they got trades. Like they're setting themselves up to make a run this year in my mind. And typically I think they were kind of darlings last year for some. Like Cleveland, that could be their year, but it always seems to be like 1 year later. You know, it takes some time. So I think this is Cleveland's year and they're going to be tough this year.
Now that's a hot take by Logan. It's Cleveland's year. Quote him, everybody. As well as I think I saw a stat that they're like the favorites in the AFC to get there. So that's big time news right there. Again, another tough opponent for the Lions. But here we go, man. This is our game. Thanksgiving, 12:30 on Thanksgiving. Lions again being put up against the Chicago Bears. I mean, do I even have to say it, people? This is a W on so many levels. People are going to be excited. We're going to be on national TV. This is a W for my Lions.
Oh, boy. I'm trying to find more wins for the Lions on their schedule right now.
Come on, Logan. Drink it in. It's Thanksgiving, man.
I'll give it this one to the Lions. I had them losing to the Bears first time around. Since they're at home, Thanksgiving, a little extra juice, national television. Yeah, we'll go with the Lions here for no great reason other than just gut.
I mean, it's turkey, it's stuffing, it's pumpkin pie with a side of, that blue Kool-Aid.
Drink it in, man.
I mean, it doesn't get better. I mean, there's no the Lions. How about a beat down? How about blowing out the Bears by 21? There you go, people. There's a hot take for you on Thanksgiving. 21-point win over Justin Fields. Maybe gets injured. I don't know. I would hate to see it, but maybe it happens. All right, let's go back-to-back home games for the Lions against the Vikings. I already gave them a win in Minnesota. I mean, why not double dip here on the Koolaid Cast? Give me a 2-0 season here against the Vikings. Win.
So everything I said the first time with the Vikings still stands. I'll go with Minnesota.
Oh, man. All right. We will keep it moving. Lions heading to the Broncos. We've talked about it a little bit. I mean, this could be a snowy game. This could be a game that's important for the Lions if you're looking at my predictions. This could be a game with draft stock on the line if you're looking at your predictions. Give me the Lions over Denver. And like I said, I hope it's that smug SOB at quarterback. If not, we'll beat them regardless. So another W.
Yeah, so I'm going to, if it's Rodgers there, I don't think there's any way the Lions could win. But even with Drew Lock, I think there's still some talent on that team. And Drew Lock isn't anything special by any means, but they still have some talent there. And I liked what they did in the draft. So it's at Denver as well, Mile High. So we'll go with the Broncos here. With
you know what I did? I'm trying to work the soundboard. I'm trying to move us through. I'm trying to entertain, talking Lions. And I had that chalked up as a W. You kind of okey-doked me a little bit. Now I had to scribble it out. I think I lost probably 3 games ago. I lost track of some of our predictions here, but it doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and have the Lions at home against the Cardinals. The Cardinals are my whipping boy. Everybody knows this. They love the mayor of Munchkin Land that plays quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. They love all these weapons. They love all this new age. Hey, let's draft every player that's too small to play linebacker and too big to play safety and put them in the middle and just hope that they do okay. That's what the Cardinals do. I mean, the Lions might just be able to out physical, out tough. I mean, maybe bite some kneecaps off of the Arizona Cardinals. Give me a W. Come on, let's go. Come on, Dan freaking Campbell. You can't let a little wimp like Cliff Kingsbury beat you.
Yeah. Okay, you talked me into it. But honestly, I was thinking about going with the W for the Lions here against the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are an okay team, but again, they're one of them. I feel like they're always overrated, and that's a lot to do because of Kingsbury and Murray, who I think is an okay quarterback, but he still has to progress. He still needs to get better, and the Lions have played Murray well, so I'm going with the Lions this one.
Gotta love it. Lions heading to the ATL day after Christmas, 1:00. We went in their house and won a thriller last year. Atlanta, another team that thinks they can just load up on skill guys and always seem to fall short. Every once in a while, they'll jump up and have a good season. They'll be middle of the road at best this year. Give me a W for the Lions.
I had no idea you were going to pick a W there. I think I'm giving the Lions a loss here against Atlanta. I think Atlanta's a little bit better than people are giving credit for. Coming off that Arizona win, the Lions, get caught sleeping at the wheel a little bit. And so, yeah, sure. We're going with Atlanta win for this one.
Lions heading to Seattle. I've always been a fan of kind of how the Seahawks do business. Russell Wilson, I mean, some people love him, some people hate him. I mean, to me, he's a heck of a leader, heck of a good guy, good football player, top-end quarterback. I don't know how long he'll be in Seattle, but he'll be there long enough to beat the Lions the day after New Year's. It'll be 2022. Unfortunately, the Lions would get off to a bad start on the new year and take an L here for the Lions.
Seattle's pretty good on offense. The defense is still a little work in progress, but overall, Seattle, with Russell Wilson at quarterback, they're a really tough team, and I think it'd be tough for the Lions to overcome them. So win for Seattle there.
Logan, I'm looking at my tally sheet here, and if I didn't slip up halfway through, I'm pretty sure I got the Lions with 9 W's heading into this game at Ford Field against the Packers without smug number 12. The Lions are healthy. They're hungry. There's implications. There's playoff implications. Dare I say, maybe a home playoff game on the line against the Packers, the Cheeseheads, the mozzarella sticks. Give me a big-time W. Ford Field going crazy. I mean, this could be a moment for the Lions. That would be 10 W's, 10 wins for Dan freaking Campbell, Brad Holmes, the Brain Trust, Jared Goff, the new Lions. Let's go.
Hey, maybe at this point, if Rodgers is still around, they're shutting everyone down and the Lions can get a win. So I'm going with the Lions here.
Oh, man, you saved your bacon there. I think I got you at 6 W's, if I have that correct. So
it's
6. What do we got? It's these ridiculous records. So 6-11, if I've got that right for you. I'm looking at my tally sheet. That's 10 dubs. That's that leaves me at what? Do I have 7 losses? That's got to be right, huh?
10-7. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I might have missed a few there, but I like I said, I just more worried about the W column than the L. So yeah, 10-7, possibly a division title. I can't guarantee that, but I'm pumping it up for the people. I mean, again, it's kind of the name of the show.
Drink it in, man.
That Detroit Koolaid. So like, I think it's going to be an interesting year. I think the Lions have a lot to be excited about. I think the fans will be excited. I'm hoping that they fall somewhere between your 6 and my 10 would be ideal. But maybe they shock the world. Logan, when it's all said and done, regardless of wins, losses, whatever it may be, what's something you want to give the fan base and just say, hey, this is a reason that we're going to be ending 2021 going, man, I really like this new Lions team. We can all be excited about the future. It's bright.
Really, if the Lions finish with only 5-6 wins, I don't think that is necessarily a bad thing. We all know it's a rebuild. And as long as the younger players play well and you see some signs of hope for the future, I think the Lions will be going in the right direction. You have to remember, the Lions have 2 draft picks in the first round next year and in 2023. There's going to be more cap space coming in after all the dead money leaves from all the Quinn signings that we had. So really, it's just, I'm fine with almost, I guess, with any rebuild. Yeah, you're going to have to go through some growing pains at the beginning. You just have to remember this is the first year. But to me, Brad Holmes has this team going in the right direction. And I do feel confident that it'll be turned around, because it's kind of weird, because everything Brad Holmes is doing, I'm like, oh, yeah, this makes sense. Like, this is what I would have done. So I like that. We'll see what happens, though.
I like it. I like the optimism. I like serving up that Kool-Aid for people. On further review, Logan, the people have to go back and check the tape. I believe I might have had the Lions at 11-6 when I look back at the numbers. So, like I said, drink it in, everybody. I mean, a double side of cornbread, as well as, like I say, I'm just excited about what this team has done. The new face, the draft. They haven't hit this football field yet, but it is a tough schedule, and we're just looking forward to it. So, Logan, I thought that was a lot of fun. I really had not even looked at the schedule until now, because, like I said, I don't pay a ton of attention to it. I am excited to have my season tickets, but this was the first time I really worked it through, and hey, I got them with 11 dubs. You're again about where I thought you'd be. I got you up to 6, which I'm pretty proud of. But man, I just can't thank you enough for coming on the show. We talked draft on Wednesday. If you missed that show, go back and check it out. Hopefully you guys were entertained and enjoyed us breaking down what the schedule might look like. And before you know it, a couple months go by, we'll be playing football, man. Training camp, Detroit Lions football. So Logan, really appreciate you coming on, man. Thanks a ton.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And it was kind of like you. This is the first time I actually went through and really thought about each individual game. Obviously I saw the schedule, but yeah, it was a good little exercise. So I appreciate it, but thanks for having me on.
Appreciate you, man, a ton. And everybody, thank you so much for listening. Check out our sponsors, hit that subscribe button, share this with a friend, give us a 5-star review if you think we've earned it. And we'll be coming back next week, Wednesdays and Fridays, talking all things Detroit Lions, right here on the Detroit Koolaid Cast. Take care, everybody. We're out.
Pack the bag, start the plane. This game is over. It is over. What a comeback by the Lions.
Drink it in, man.